Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705-949-1316. Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of the Lonesome Cowboy Podcast. And today, coming from Kingston, and down there is Mr. Chris Giguére, singer-songwriter. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
Outstanding.
Well, better than I was last week. Had a really bad cold.
Yeah, that's right. You said you did, eh? So you're sounding okay there. That's good. Glad to hear it. While I was doing some research on you, I saw that you and I were both at the FMO conference last year.
That's right.
Of course, trying to bump into somebody there is quite a bit going on.
That was my first time actually.
Yeah, same with us. Same idea. My wife and I went, and it was kind of overwhelming. I don't know about you, but it was like, man, every time you turn,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been a member for quite some time, or just recently?
No, yeah, maybe 2-3 years. Yeah, I've had a hard time defining my genre of music forever, right? And I finally settled on folk. So I thought I should join Folk Music Ontario.
Yeah. It kind of sounds the same way that I went, Chris. I was kind of the same way. It was to the effect of, well, it's country, but it's other things too, you know. And I went the same way, and I says, geez, maybe I'm writing folk songs, and that's how I ended up joining myself.
Yeah, and in fact, it's a pretty umbrella kind of genre that, as you say, is pretty wide anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tell by the amount of showcases and the different styles that you have in those showcases there. But a great organization. I've enjoyed them quite a bit, and
Hmm.
see if my fourth application will be my lucky one to get a showcase.
Good luck, man.
So I know that you are issuing new music, like you said that you wanted to do every month since since
Did I say
August.
that?
I think you did, yes. But it was like August of last year is when you
Okay,
supposed
well,
it.
I did follow through that with that, I think August through December last year.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, is all of these songs just going to live on their own, or is this going to become part of an album down the road, or how do you
I
see
did
it?
com Yeah, I did compile the six that I released last year, so August through December 2024
Hmm.
into an EP. So
Oh,
it's a
right on.
six song EP, and yeah, it's just called Sounds Good to Me.
Right on. Now, I noticed that many, and I've interviewed a lot of the musicians that are like that steampunk, listen to me, punk musicians end up as folk musicians or folk rock musicians. And
Yeah,
I found it interesting, like Charlie Angus, he was with the Grievous Angels, and now he sings folk songs by himself sometimes.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, was there a connection there for you too? Is that the same way, like with the way the punk came into
Yeah, I
folk
don't
kind
know.
of
I mean,
thing?
punk was very, very early days,
Yeah.
and I have to say, I kind of got pulled into that more by my friends and bandmates. It wasn't really me driving that that direction. I was, one of a group of guys who could play guitar,
Hmm.
and we had a great time with it. But that was teenage days.
Yeah, exactly.
But even by the time I was in my 20s, when I started doing music a little more seriously, it was definitely veering much more into folky acoustic kind of territory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've always felt that punk is similarly in the fact that they're singing, for average people about average everyday things, and hence it's a very relatable in that respect.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you're one of the first musicians that I've talked to from the Kingston
Hmm.
area. What's the music scene like in Kingston, Chris?
Uh, it looks pretty vibrant as far as I can see. But as you can tell from the way that I just answered that, I'm not really like mucked right in with it, you know,
Hmm.
despite living here for a long time. Yeah, I've sort of come in and out. I might have said maybe in my 20s I was more actively part of what was, going on. And then a couple detours later, I'm back into making music only, I don't know, maybe the last 5 years, actively six, seven, I don't know.
Hmm.
Time flies, right?
Yeah.
And so finding myself, yeah, a little on the edges of things, but there's a lot going on, that's for sure.
Hmm.
A lot of good
Well,
stuff.
that's good. Are you a home recording studio kind of person, Chris?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So everything we hear, it all comes from right then and there, right?
The EP songs, the 6 songs that I did there, I went to a local studio called Longshot Records. Shout
Right
out
on.
to Matt Bates, great
Nice.
guy, great studio, and we recorded the drums. So we did the a good friend of mine, Ed Jansen from a previous band that we used to be in together.
Right on.
Much more of a rock band that one, but
Sure.
he's a fantastic drummer, and yeah, it was good to spend some time together again. And he just yeah, I don't know. We had very few. I sent him some, acoustic and vocal, just sort of guide tracks, and he learned the songs. We had maybe 2 rehearsals and went in for half a day, and he knocked them out, like all the drum parts. And then I just added on top of that. So everything
Uh-huh.
else is me, except for the obvious people who were extras. I had a lot of other friends also help me out with those ones
Yeah,
on
exactly.
backing vocals and saxophone and things that I can't do.
Hmm. Now, you play when you are gigging, you're playing with two other musicians, I noticed.
Yep.
You got somebody on the percussion, and then you got another guitar player, I think. Is that it?
Bass player
Bass
now.
player, yeah.
Yeah.
And these folks have been with you for quite some time, have they?
The current configuration, it's only been about a year and a half, maybe a
Oh yeah.
year. Yeah. Prior to that, so we call this group the Larks when we play together. Um, and yeah, so it's Jen plays like a cajon
Yeah.
essentially, and contributes some backing vocals, and Jared on bass. And it's been kind of fun for me because it makes me the sole guitar player. So more often than not, I'm actually playing electric guitar,
Yeah.
which I hadn't done a lot of for quite a while, because the previous group that was active pre-pandemic and kind of active through the pandemic, we kept together. But I was playing with another guitar player who was very much more of a lead guitar kind of fellow. So I
Sure.
ended up playing a lot of the acoustic guitar, just kind of rhythm parts, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's fun, changes
Yeah.
things up.
Yeah. Completely off to the side, I noticed one of your live videos on your Instagram, you're playing a blonde Godin,
Mm-hmm.
or Godin, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the hybrid model, eh, with the acoustic pickup in the bridge.
Yes.
I had one of those.
That guitar has been with me since the 90s.
Oh, wow.
One of the early acoustic casters. And yeah, so it looks like an electric guitar, but it's designed to sound like an acoustic. And I found myself going back to it because I've got a really nice, which way is it? That one back there. I got just pre-pandemic as well, and it's a beautiful acoustic guitar with it's a Breed Love, if you're familiar
Oh,
with
Breed Loves, yeah.
the
Yeah, of course.
brand, and it's gorgeous, and it's got electronics pickup in it, but it's such a sensitive guitar that it feeds back really easily.
Wow.
And the main virtue of the Godin is it doesn't feed back, so
Yeah, that's the greatest
regardless of
part.
volume levels, and it sounds pretty darn good through a system,
Hmm.
pretty
Yeah,
convincing.
I had one like that. It was a dark walnut, I think, almost kind of thing. And my only biggest beef with it is that it weighed a ton.
Oh, really?
Oh, this thing must have weighed 25 pounds,
Huh. No,
maybe.
mine is very light. It's like a semi hollow body inside. Um, it's got like whatever resonating chambers or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
really, eh? Yeah.
Did it again to try to emulate
Mhm.
the acoustic sound.
Yeah, this was a solid body, and I could blend acoustic and electric and the
Right.
whole deal. And
I think I remember those. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
couldn't like the older you get, the heavier that becomes.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. There's been some talk on the socials about venues and how they can improve experiences for the musicians. Because a lot of the musicians now, I notice they're taking to the socials to talk about their experiences and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Are there any kind of improvements you'd like to see in a venue's situation when they're dealing with musicians? Maybe something they're not thinking about?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good question, and not something I've really put a lot of thought into, honestly.
Hmm.
The ones that I tend to deal with, like locally around here, are all pretty good, honestly.
That's good.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't really have any complaints. And yeah, I don't, I've been sticking pretty close to Kingston and near region,
Hmm.
because, as you know, among other things, musicians talk about is the unviability of financially of touring, really, right?
Yep.
It's a big time commitment. There's a lot more expenses the further you go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I've kind of almost deliberately not sought anything out much too far afield, though I'm sort of coming around to trying to do that a little bit more, hopefully over the next year or so.
Hmm. So you're, but in Kingston, I mean, you probably have lots of, within an hour to 2 hours drive, you probably have lots of gigs within that you can
Certainly
reach,
more
eh?
than Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
tell me
you're
about
right.
it.
Ottawa's like a 2 hour drive, and Toronto, well, the east end of Toronto is about 2.5 hours. If you're going downtown or something, you got to factor in traffic and everything else. It ends up being more like 3.5.
Hmm. Yeah.
Same
And
with
you know,
Montreal.
and same where I'm stuck here. I mean, the closest I'm going to get is Sudbury, and that's about three and a bit, you know?
Right. Yeah. So it's a commitment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's like our tour. If I'm going on tour with another artist from Southern Ontario, Will Gillespie. He's from um, Cobalt area, and
Cool.
we had to get a grant.
Good for you, though. Yeah. Way to
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
he's a good grant writer, so that's it always helps if you got somebody to do that. But nowadays, that just seems to be the reality of it. Like,
Yeah.
it's you have to be able to afford to play to build the audience that you need that you can then make them want to come to see you to pay money to see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just see it as a circle,
Very much
chasing,
so.
yeah, chasing yourself around by the tail kind of thing. I noticed there was an EP on your Bandcamp. It was from 2018, and now that maybe the EP that you were talking about, but it was with The Final Say.
Yeah. That's the previous group that I was talking about with
God, yeah, right.
uh, the other guitar player who was very much more of a electric lead kind of guy,
Hmm.
and a longtime collaborator of mine, Robin Moon, who's an excellent vocalist and has a really unique voice. So when we were in that trio, it was more kind of almost two voices, mine and
Yes,
hers. She sang
yes,
almost harmony, parallel harmony,
yeah.
if not, responding backing vocals throughout most of the songs. So
Hmm.
that there was very much that, and then there was a lot of Alex doing some pretty impressive guitar stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
Oh,
listening to
thanks.
as much as I could. Well, it was just before we got started here, and
Yeah, so that one feels pretty old to me now. I mean, what's that, 7 years ago?
yeah, no kidding. Eh?
Um, and it's funny because I did briefly listen back to it, even just to compare, because we had it mastered by someone else,
Hmm.
and I found that the volume, or yeah, the volume levels were quite low on that EP. But still, I still like the songs. I mean, I wrote the songs,
Yeah, right.
but
Yeah, the you were saying the two voices together actually blend really perfectly. It
yeah, well,
was
that's again credit to Robin. She's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
I had a little bit of memories of Rodney Crowell and um oh my Lord, I can't remember her, the beautiful white hair. Amy Lou Harris. Yeah.
Yes,
Emmy
Emmylou Harris. Yeah,
Emmy
yeah,
Lou
yeah.
Harris, right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh well,
Yeah,
thanks. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, no, it sounded great. Enjoyed that a
appreciate that.
lot.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's the older one.
gotcha. Yeah. So, when it comes to songwriting and stuff like that, Chris, where do you draw from? What's your in influences, I guess, or are they songwriters, or are they something else that you gather
Huh.
your influence from?
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose everybody's influenced by everything they've ever heard, right?
Hmm.
I mean, as a younger person, I went through a lot younger person. I was, fascinated with the Beatles. I couldn't
Yeah.
get enough of them for a certain period of time. And I guess coming through, yeah, again, like teen years, well, there's a lot of punk, and a lot of only because it was sort of that's what we were playing, so I got
Yeah.
exposed to it a lot. But also a lot of, yeah, like British invasion kind of stuff, almost still again from the '60s, like the Who. I love the Who and stuff at that period, and then it's kind of morphed through. Um, Lately, like the last, I don't know, 20 years or so, I've been totally into like Americana and bluegrass and things like
Hmm.
that, as far as just things I listen to. Um, and I have a hard time myself drawing a straight line from the music that comes out of me back to anything or any one specific that I listen to, if you see what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're all kind of mixed and blended up in there.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what's coming up? Anything brand new,
Well, still more
special?
recording. Pardon me?
Yeah. A special, anything special, big project or anything like that coming up?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of in this nice for me anyway. I don't know. Yeah, like you say, or well, like I said, you're trying to make some stuff happen because I'd love to have more people hear what I'm doing because I feel like I'm making some of the best music, writing some of the best songs that I've ever done. Um, but to physically go out there is an undertaking. But even before that, you have to get the bookings. And I've been a little bit precious about not being a cover band kind of like cover tune kind of guy.
Yeah.
When I do make bookings, I make it clear to people doing the booking that a large part of my repertoire is original. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I'm not, I do try to throw in, select covers that I think are going to be appealing to most people
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and or the clientele of the place that I happen to be playing. But yeah, I'm not that interested in playing other people's stuff. So that being, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to work really hard at booking. You got to, if you get the bookings, then you got to get there and do all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm low key doing that, but more focusing on, yeah, just kind of trying to get the songs into some kind of completed form. And now with the way things are now, yeah, get it up on the internet and all the streaming services. And if people happen to
Yeah.
stumble upon me, then they can hear it.
Yeah, that's about it's unfortunate that's about the only thing we can do, isn't
Yeah.
it? Is that we're stuck with one method where I think, it was before I think we had more options available to us to make our music
Yeah.
available.
Could be
Uh,
hard to say. Cause I mean, I really pushed it in my 20s with the band that I was with there.
yeah.
Yeah, we were doing the whole thing that you do, or well, that I did anyway, that a lot of people have done.
Yeah.
We all lived together in a, band house and we had a rehearsal space there. We bought a van all together and we were, going, well, we're gonna make it, kind of thing. And did that for a good 5 years or whatever and
I hear you.
played a lot and then sort of other life stuff happens, you get married, suddenly kids are on the scene and I don't know, priorities shift a little bit.
Yeah, that's about it. And unfortunately, I was in music for the longest time, but I took until I was like 59 years old to say, okay, now I'm going to give it a try.
Well, power to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was complimented by an artist there, and when I said to him, I says, "Yeah, how stupid am I doing that?" And he goes, "Well," he says, "Actually, you're probably better suited to handle what's coming towards you at that age."
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would be, yeah, I remember being frustrated as a younger person, I mean, regardless of whether the delivery systems and the environment was different to some extent, but I mean, in a lot of ways, it just kind of keeps getting recreated with new, I don't know, I don't know what the word would be, but, certain aspects get replaced by other aspects, but that basically play the same role,
Hmm.
whether it's radio stations being gatekeepers or playlist makers being gatekeepers, or I don't know what, if that's a good example or not. But yeah, I remember being frustrated about the way things worked, but things seem to kind of work about the same. as far as I can see. If they work or they don't work, right?
Yeah, exactly. One or the other. Outstanding. Is this a full-time gig for you, Chris, doing your music?
Well, as I mentioned, yeah, like I decided I did I managed to get a degree from university
Oh, good
in
for
my
you.
early 20s, and then promptly, yeah, thought had decided through that period that, oh well, I had this group of guys and we had a pretty good band, we had a good following, so we were going to make a go of it.
Hmm.
And so pretty much ever since then, that is what I've done. But I even in my teens, I had I taught guitar,
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
great.
I've kind of done that since then. And in my later 20s, when the band was dissolving, I got a bit lucky and took over a local music school.
Nice. Good for you.
So it
Excellent.
was the Kingston School of Music, and I ran that for about 15 years. And we had kids at the time. My wife has a more regular job, and so I was also the full-time at-home parent for
Good for you. Excellent.
10 of those 15 years.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that going, a lot of parenting, a lot of running a business. And I realized that during that period, I didn't make any music myself. It was just too much going on
Yeah. All the rest of the
otherwise.
life gets in the way, eh?
Yeah. And so once the kids started getting a little more self-sufficient, I did resume teaching guitar,
Good for
which I
you.
continue to do. That's kind of my day gig. Um,
Good stuff.
so that's, yeah, teach guitar during the day and the week in some schools, which is fantastic.
Hmm.
I recommend that because it's if you can, like, there's a bunch of hoops to be jumped through, but it's nice to have like daytime work, right? Which
Yeah,
is,
of course. That's
and then
fantastic.
my
Yeah.
evenings are clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Outstanding. Outstanding. Okay, Chris, tell the folks where they can find about you and more about you and your music and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, the website's the main spot, right?
Right on.
I sometimes use this name as a stage name, but rarely. But for written things, because my last name can be difficult for many people to spell or pronounce, I use Chris Giggs Music.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so because I thought that was first three letters of my last name, Gig, and gigs are what we play
That's
as
what we want.
musicians. So
Yes.
so yeah, chrisgiggsmusic.ca is the website, and Chris Giggs Music is also my handle
Yeah.
on all the socials, things like that.
And if you're wondering, folks, it's pronounced Giguére.
Thank you.
There you go. Chris Giguére, thank you so much for coming on the program. I really appreciate it. And I hope the folks will check out your songs because there is some cool stuff there to listen
Appreciate it.
to.
Yeah.
And we'll be seeing more of you along the way, hopefully.
I hope so too.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Thank you.
Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705 949 1316.